We will read from the study of the 10 Sefirot with Rabash. We will read from the study of the 10 Sefirot, part 5, inner light, in item 43, from the words. And the reason is that if the fifth light were to come, before that we'll read from the study of the 10 Sefirot, the words of the Ari, item 43. In part 5. After that, it returns to being not mati in Keter, not expanding in Keter. And then it expands, it is mati in Chokhmah. It is also mati in Bina because of the chesed there, because he desires mercy. At that time, it is also mati, it also expands in chesed. For then chesed descends to his place. And then it is not mati in Gvura, because Gvura ascends with chesed. At that time, it is mati in Tiferet, and light descends in Tiferet. Then it is not mati in Netzach, since the light of Netzach ascends with Tiferet. At that time, it is mati in Hod, since then the vessel of Netzach turns its anterior and gives the three lights to Hod, at which time Hod turns its anterior to Yesod and shines in it. Let's go into the lesson with Rabash.
The reason is that if the light of the hay had come before the refinement to phase 1, meaning before the time of the descent of Chesed from Bina to the vessel of Chesed, only what? It would have come like the male of Bina, which came at that same level of phase 2. There would have been the level of the hay that was in phase 2. Why? Since the coarseness of Bina had not yet been refined to phase 1. When? But only when Chesed was given to the vessel of Chesed. Then the phase 2 of Bina was refined to phase 1. If so, what is there? This is what the Ari emphasizes. Since there was no strength in Chesed and Vak to receive such great light. For how is it possible that the light of the level of phase 2, which is the hay, would come and clothe the vessels of Vak, which are phase 1? For this reason, Bina was compelled first to be refined from phase 2 to phase 1, at which time the light of hay was refined to the measure of phase 1. Then both emerged, meaning the light of Chesed and the light of hay, and came to the vessel of Chesed. And that hay then moved from vessel to vessel until it came to the vessel of Yesod, which is its place. Now, why there, in Bina, can she indeed receive at that same level that emerged in Chokhmah? Now you can also understand what the Ari answers there. What's written here? I repeat the question. We have phase 2 of coarseness refined to phase 1 of coarseness. This is the level of Zeranpin. Phase 3 of coarseness refined to phase 2. This is the level of Chokhmah. Therefore, how does Bina give phase 1 to Zeranpin? Bina was refined from phase 2 to phase 1. This is simple. Now he asks a question. We see that there was a coupling on 2 phase 2s in the vessel of Chokhmah. At that same level, there was no refinement. It was given to Bina. If so, he asks, why can the light that emerged on two phase twos in the vessel of Bina, which he calls Hay, why can this light that came through the coupling of two phase twos of the Hay not be given to the vessel of Chesed without refinement? Here, if it is a coupling, there was no refinement. It does not need the refinement. Why here is the refinement needed for the light that emerged through the coupling? Answer. There, Bina and Chokhmah, two phase twos, she can receive the light of phase two, but with phase two and phase one, it cannot receive phase two. Therefore, after the phase two of Bina was refined to phase one, she gives two things to Chesed. One, the phase one she received from Chokhmah, she gives to Chesed. And the Hay that emerged from her, which now has only the rule of phase one, she gives to the vessel of Chesed. The Hay was born on two phase twos of Bina. For whose sake? For the sake of Zeranpin. Slowly, slowly. And from this quality, which is phase two, she cannot give it the Hay. Only what? After Bina was refined to phase one, then she gives this Hay. So the Hay was also refined. When was the Hay born? On what coarseness?
I would just want to say that from phase one.
Incorrect. What you say, from where was it born? It was born from two phase twos. Only what? She cannot give the phase two, the Hay, which was born from two phase twos, until all of Bina is refined. It turns out that this Hay no longer has the rule of phase two, only the rule of phase one. Who causes this? Not the birth, the refinement.
So we need to say that the Hay was refined as well.
Yes, this is what we learn. If so, birth, emergence, that is one thing, and giving, that's another thing. And this is his question. There we learn that two phase twos, that the light that makes two phase twos, Bina, indeed received it. There was no refinement in between. And here we learn that the light emerged on phase twos, and it cannot give this light until Bina is refined for the sake of the phase one. This is how we learn. So when Bina was refined for the sake of phase one, it turns out that this Hay no longer has the rule of phase two, only the rule of phase one. Now we must also say that this Hay, which is found in the vessel of Hod, is in the form of phase one. So let us say that Hod was refined to coarseness of root, which is called the light of Malchut. And at the time that it gives the light of Malchut to the vessel of Yesod, it will also give the Hay to the vessel of Yesod. So what will it be on what level?
Root.
Root. And he says this was not what happened. So what happened? Before Hod was refined to coarseness of root, it gave the Hay. Why? This must be learned. I repeat. What does Bina, not like that, what does Bina have that she must give to Zeranpin? I'm asking. We say, the phase one that was refined from the vessel of Chokhmah and passed to the vessel of Bina, this is considered her son and offspring. This remains in Bina, while Bina is still phase two. And also, afterwards, she made a coupling of two phase twos, the Hay, also phase two. On the one hand, I can say the Hay was born on two phase twos, unlike the phase one is only phase one. It was not born from two phase twos. I say the opposite. once more. The Hay was born from two phase twos. The phase one was born from the refinement of phase two. From this perspective, I would say, which degree is higher? The Hay. He comes and says, no. Why not? It was born from the vessel of Chokhmah, but there was no refinement there, and here there was no refinement. Afterwards, we learn now that there is in Bina the light of phase one and the light of phase two. To give to Chesed, it cannot. It is phase two. If it's phase two, what it gives will be at the measure of phase two. And the lower one has no equivalence with phase two. Therefore, after the phase two of Bina was refined to phase one, then she gives two things to Chesed. One, the phase one she received from Chokhmah, she gives to Chesed. And the Hay also now has only the rule of phase one, and she gives it to the vessel of Chesed.
That was yesterday.
He says, like yesterday. Page 331, item 44. It is the same matter in all the Vak, since when the lights are given in them, they turn their interior and shine downward. Since it is precisely the Bina who did not turn her interior to Chesed, since there is no strength in Chesed to receive the light of Bina. But Vak, however, for themselves, have the ability to receive light from one another. Why? Since all the Vak are equal. We learn that Bina did not turn her interior to Chesed. What does this mean that specifically Bina did not turn her interior to Chesed? We learned she did turn her interior to Chesed. But his intention is, at the time when she did not yet have phase two, why her interior to give to Chesed before she was refined to phase two? For the refinement from phase two to phase one, yes. Unlike them, they did not have, the quality of all of them is one quality of coarseness. Let's see below. And similarly, the matter in the inner light in all the Vak. Since when the lights are given in them, they turn their interior and shine downward, meaning, as it has been written above, this Hay emerged by the coupling from the male and female of the vessel of Bina, when Bina was refined from phase 2 to phase 1, to give the light of Chesed in the vessel of Chesed. At that time, the light of this Hay emerged with it too. Chesed gave to Gvura, etc., until she reached the vessel of Hod, and Hod gave to Yesod. It is written. It is the same matter in all the Vak, since when the lights are given in them, they turn their interior and shine downward. In other words, that same light of the Hay that came out by a coupling, whose bestowal is always referred to by the Ari as illumination.
נעבור לחלק הבא של השיעור, לימוד בין
We'll